All right, welcome everybody to this tutorial. Pretty easy to add text to Photoshop, so I'm going to show you right here what to do. What do we always do in the first step of Photoshop? We're going to duplicate the background, make another layer so that we always have our base layer. And I'm just going to call this one bottom layer, just so I know what I'm doing. If you've never added text, it's really simple. We have a T tool over here in the corner. When you click on that T tool, you will get a cursor, and up at the top it tells you your font style. It tells you if it's bold, italic, regular. It tells you how big it is. Watch out for this, because if you're on like font size like 300 or 500, sometimes your font won't show up and you'll be like, what's wrong? It's because it's so huge, so watch out for that. And then sharp, strong, smooth, that's just how the font is functional. Obviously, you know how to adjust it left, right, or center. And then this is the color of the font, so we can change the color. So for this one, let's make it like a bright green. This is Auntie's photo, so it's not mine. So then I'm gonna click and drag and make a box, and it fills it with some Latin text so that you don't accidentally fill it with something else. And then notice it just made a layer here. That's really nice that you have that layer, because that's going to allow us to do a few things with it. So first I'm going to type in something other than Latin. So this is, it looks like a handoff. Handoff. Is handoff 2 words? Hand off. Whoa. A lot of Latin in there. A lot of Latin. Let's just get rid of all of it. Okay, and we're going to say instead of football. Oh no. Football. There we go. How do we like that font? It looks terrible. So, sorry, font people of the world, but we can click on any different font here. So if I do the drop-down menu, I will get a selection of the many different fonts you have here in Photoshop. If we do like an emoji thing, obviously it won't quite work, so we don't want to do that. But we might pick something that's pretty simple. Let's do maybe anybody have a favorite font? Oh, classic, wow. Let's go with Times New Roman. Let's go with bold today. Oh, feeling good. Feeling good, and I want to go all caps because it's football. Okay. Football, there we go. Okay, nice and big. I'm gonna make that even bigger. I can either select from this menu, but notice it says I'm at the biggest. But fortunately, it kind of lies to you. You can actually make it like 200. And then it's so big right now that it is, oh my gosh, football. This will be good. I wonder if it makes it 2 rows. Football, good. This is perfect actually. So I'm gonna put a space in between just so these are 2 different things. Okay, that's nice and big. And that's kind of all you can do, right? So we can highlight it and we could actually click through the different options. And if I go down through the different fonts, my video is making this go a little bit slower than I would like. But you'll notice it'll actually change on its own. And I can kind of preview what I want it to look like. I liked one that was just back here a second ago. Not that one. This one, this is nice. So once I click that, I have it here. This is still the Times New Roman. Then I can do a couple things. Up here, I have ways that I can certainly edit the font. So for instance, if I want to make it warped, I can warp it as an arc. Football. Okay, and it's so huge right now that it's kind of interesting. So you can spread it either way, which is fun. I can make it a shell, which is kind of fun. So it almost comes out to you like Star Wars-esque, or not. So I have a whole bunch of ways that I can manipulate that text. I can do a fisheye, which is fun to do. Football. So anyway, there's a lot of different adjustments you can do, and that's up at that curve. Let's cancel all of that because it's kind of ugly. But that's up at this curve up here and changing that style, so warp text. Then there's a couple of neat little tricks you can do. So for instance, if you highlight your text and you hold down Alt, this would be a good first note. If I hold down Alt, I can use my arrows on my keyboard and I can squeeze the text. So this is using my left arrow and I'm squeezing it in. So Alt and left arrow. Oh boy. Okay, if I use the right arrow, obviously it goes the other way, like one would imagine. If I use the up and down arrow, then it will compress. And sometimes it does it all at once, like it just did here. And then I can keep going. This is gonna take a whole bunch of... I hope they get this sound on the video. Should I have put the techno in the background? Because then I'd get more hits, right? I could still do it. But I could put it just digitally in the background. I'll just do it in post-production. Yeah, because this is taking forever. We don't have time to get to... This is the best part of the video. This is where people skip forward. Yep. Anyway, this usually doesn't take this long. But you get the point, right? You guys get the point? Let's keep doing it. Okay. Yep. Okay. There we go. Perfect. So it says football. It looks like $1 million, but we can do a whole bunch more things. Okay. So I still have my text layer. Let me show you the magic of Photoshop here. Uh-oh, what happened? Screencast-O-Matic. It's going crazy. Yeah, I know. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna move my face so you can see this. It's acting a fool. So down at the bottom, when you're clicked on your text layer, you can do these effects. Notice it has an F and an X, which when you say that, what does it sound like? Effects. So it's a great way to remember it. Effects, you click on FX. So it's very clever, those folks at Adobe. Okay, so if I click on the effects, I get a whole bunch of options. Now, whenever I click on any one of these, all my options are present. So one of the most classic ones that you're gonna want is a drop shadow. So if I click on drop shadow, it gives me a drop shadow right behind the text. And I can choose how much I want of that drop shadow. I can do distance. Ooh, there we go. Now you're really seeing it. I can do spread. I can do size, make it nice and big. I can make it smaller. Are people seeing that back there? I can rotate it as if the sun was rotating, so I can move it around the text. So that's a drop shadow, and it's just the distant. If I get rid of drop shadow, I can do an outer glow if I want it to look, I don't know, glowy and pretty. Okay, so that makes kind of that interesting effect on the outside. I can make that spread bigger, etc. I can do a pattern overlay. Ooh, what pattern should we choose today? That's fun. So you can do all sorts of weird pattern overlays. That looks really good. You can do a gradient overlay. We haven't looked at gradients too much in class yet, but gradients effectively just have a color variation that goes through them. You can change the color that you want based on this slider, which is just double clicking that little area, and you can make it look different ways. That's a gradient. A color overlay, obviously you can add an extra color on the top and blend it a certain way. Satin, make a little satin color. That's kind of a fun look. An inner glow. I don't have a color selected for the inner glow, so that's not doing much. Inner shadow. And then the last one, this one is probably the one you'll use the most besides a drop shadow, and that's a stroke. The cool thing about a stroke is it adds that bold line to the outside of the letter. That's really helpful if you have a light background and a light font. If you add that stroke, it makes it stand off. So I'm gonna actually stop that right there. And so notice it makes a little bit more strength to it. I can drop the eyeball and see what it looked like before. Okay, so it adds that kind of element to it that makes it a little bit more pronounced, which is nice, especially for your bigger title headlines, things like that. Okay, all right. So that's pretty good. So those are your effects, that's your font. So those are pretty straightforward. Now the cool thing with font is you can actually add different things to it, which is a lot of fun. So for instance, if you want to add a picture to the bottom of your font, we can do the following, which is on your font, you can right click and There we go. That's weird. We'll edit this part of the video out. Weird. Ah. Merge. Weird. It's not giving me that control, which is too bad. Never mind. I'll show you how to do that one later. But basically, you can merge this one into this one. And yeah, that's not what I want. That's weird. Okay, anyway, I'll show you a different one. So the other cool part is you can obviously add a mask to this. So you can add a mask to your text, and then you can cut through your mask, just like we've learned so many times this year, which is why that skill is critical. And then you could, for instance, cut through this letter. And it's tough to do when there's a stroke around it, so we're going to get rid of our stroke. And you could make this start to appear. Obviously, this is very quick and poorly done. But start to appear as if it's 3D behind the person, if you imagine it as such. This is good for your magazine because you might want to put the font behind the person. So again, if we cut through here, we can bring that arm through and then zoom in and use our brush. So again, exactly what you've learned before. But as we go through and we could create a selection, you can start to create that look that the font is actually behind the person. So that's just using a mask, as you've learned before. Pretty simple stylistically to change that up. And that kind of makes it look fun because then it looks like the person's in front of it. Okay, so that's our use of a mask. Oh, I really wish I could figure this out. Hold on. I think I've got it. I think I know what I need to do. Oh, yeah. Oh boy. There it is. Okay, so what you want to do, thank the maker, I remembered. If you want to put your picture inside your font, which is kind of a fun hack or technique, the thing I was messing up is you don't want to put your text at the top, you put your image at the top, and then you right click on that image and say create clipping mask. And it's a really easy way to then put your picture inside the text. Okay, so for instance, you can see the person. That's fun to do if you have a really bold text and you want to get that picture right inside. This is a really easy way to make like a poster for someone. For instance, if it's their birthday or something, you could make the number of years of their birthday and then put their picture inside that number. And it's kind of fun and people are like, wow, how did you do that? And that's all it is right clicking and doing a clipping mask. We can release that clipping mask as well. So those are kind of all the fun things you can do with font. The last one I want to show you here is if we get off this and say, let's do some new text and you can do vertical type tool. And when you do a vertical type tool, all it does is it does vertical text, but it does it straight down, which is kind of weird how it's placed there. But that way, if we make this smaller font and we say like 72, this would be something wherein you can go football, okay? And you'll notice mine's doing some kind of very strange writing style, but football. It writes it vertically so you don't have to worry about that. If, however, you are wanting to rotate your text, generally, you don't want the vertical text tool. You just use the same technique that we've learned all year, which is Control-T, and then you can rotate your text as well. Okay, so it's that same idea. Notice that clipping mask does stay with it though, so make sure you rotate it and get it set before you do any kind of masking. Cool? Questions? Text? It's pretty fun, pretty exciting. You're going to use a lot of text on your magazine cover, so just make sure you practice with this and play around with this. You have about 20 minutes left in class, so feel free to start trying it out and playing away. Screencast-O-Matic is going a little nuts.